Metrics. Yeah, I understand metrics. I understand tracking. I understand numbers and trying to figure out conversion rates and all these kinds of things. But I will tell you that I found that your absolute best agents tend to know the least amount of that information because they're selling, they're building relationships, and they're marketing. And I will tell you, we've tracked stuff to the point of no return. When times were slow, we found ourselves really tracking things. When things got busy, we threw out the tracking and we just put fuel on the fire and let's go. Because if you put it, then your attitude changes because you're like, you know what, I'm really good, I'm really comfortable, I know the market's there, so I'm gonna throw the fire on it. So we do tracking, analytics. We track analytics. We track all the Facebook pixels. We do all that. But I'll also tell you that the more I track it, for me, this is totally inverse to every coach in the world. The more I track that stuff, the less productive I find myself, and the more gun shy I get about trying new things, because sometimes your online conversion rates and things like that can actually mess you up because you focus on that instead of focusing on the relationships that you already have in your database. Be it the ones that are coming. I mean, my idea of seller leads is very much like buyer leads was 6 years ago, was to build a database. And now we have simply inverted it. We use the buyer database that we built over the last 10 years that we've been paying tremendous amounts of money to build, 40 some thousand people in our case now. We leverage that database for our sellers. So now we're actually using the database. We're not building the buyer database the way we used to. We cut out all pay-per-click and all that. Everything we get buyer-wise is either organic through Craigslist or through IVR. And now we network to those people that we already have, and we basically go to Mr. Seller and say, Mr. Seller, let me show you these 40-some thousand people that we can show you that are looking in your neighborhood already. And so you sit down, you run your reverse prospecting on Boomtown or Real Estate Webmasters, whatever system you're running, and you say, oh, by the way, I've got 73 buyers that are looking for a house just like yours in your neighborhood. So it's a beautiful thing. So you take and you build. So now we're building our seller database so that we need sellers. I mean, back over the last 6, 8, 10 years since the recession, there's no question you needed paychecks. And the fastest way to a paycheck in a down market is a buyer that's ready, willing, and able. Well, so you throw all your guns at the buyer. Well, now, as the market shifts to more of a normalized market, and even in some cases to a seller's market, then you need listings. Because if you got listings, you got buyers. And if you got listings, you got agents. If you got listings, you got everybody working for you. So now we are focused 100%. And right now, the turns is when you make your money in this business. Is whoever's got the inventory when the time is right is going to be the winner. So right now, everything we've been doing for the last year and a half, 2 years with the seller valuation system is refining them, trying to learn how can we leverage them, how can we build them. But at the end of the day, what we've learned is it's been the best opportunity we've seen to build a database of people who at some point in their mind are thinking about selling. Because you don't go just to find a valuation of your home for the heck of it. Now, you may not be ready to move this year, or maybe not even next year, but it's in your mind. And whenever this happens, whatever this might be retired, this might be get a new job, this might be whatever. Whenever this happens, then we're going to move. And I want to know what my house is worth in the meantime. So we get them in our system, we get the drip systems running, we get them an automatic valuation going. Some people use Top Producers Market Snapshot. That's fine. Personally, I think it's as simple as using whatever your system you're running, be it Real Estate Webmasters, Boomtown, Commissions Inc., or whatever system you're using. Set up an automatic search, or even just your MLS. In our case, we use Rapatoni, which is not the best system out there, but it's there, and we pay for it, and it's already paid for. Set up client portals so that they get emails of homes in their neighborhood because you get it in their neighborhood, they're nosy, they want to know what's going on in their neighborhood. So you find out what's coming on the market, what price changes, and then in our case, in our market, we're actually able to import sold data, so we send them out the solds as well, which is pretty much what Market Snapshot by Top Producer does. But even if you can just send them the new listings, you're 99% ahead of the rest of the agents in your market. Because number one is you're the only person that's got their name and number, because they're not out there going online and registering 1,000 of these sites. They're just doing it on one or two versus doing it on every site they go on to look for homes if they were a buyer. So anyway, but I think that's the biggest advantage that you have with these systems versus the older systems. So it's really just a mindset. What is your goal? My goal is not short-term conversion with seller leads. Now, granted, do you get some? Yes. Do you get more than you did with buyers? Yes. But is that your goal? No. My goal is to build a database. It's to build a database, and then as we go through it, segment that database. North side of town, south side of town, by zip code, whatever. All of a sudden, then you've got hundreds of people in one specific zip code that you can focus on with Every Door Direct or whatever you want to do. But you've got a lot of different ways to use and leverage that information once you have segmented databases. So based on what they're going to do. But so it just it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is short-term conversion, quite honestly, all you need to do is just get Vulcan 7 or a system like that and work expires after the first of every year. So that's your fastest way to short-term conversion is to work your expireds because a lot of those folks are going to be doing something right now. We tend to work expireds differently. We send out the postcards for a home value system versus just, hey, it's Buddy, call me cards. So we give them a reason to do something other than look at our face. So it's just a mind shift, and it's depending on what you want. If you're looking at short-term conversion, I think you're going to be limited in what you can get. But if you're looking at building a relationship and starting a relationship for the long term, so that you'll be top of mind, then there's never been a better source, quite honestly. And there's certainly for the price, it's a lot cheaper than going after buyers with the large buyer platforms and what it costs per click or per lead on a buyer lead. So that's my take on it.